please rise for a moment of reflection and remain standing for the flag salute.
Thank you so much, and please join me in a moment of reflection. We come together tonight to say thank you. Thank you for the privilege, the blessing, the honor it is to serve here in the city of Escondido. We come together tonight as a diverse community, a community from backgrounds, different beliefs, different presents, and different futures, yet one common goal, that is the betterment of this city. We come together tonight to seek guidance, wisdom, and discernment during deliberations that transpire this evening, and in doing so, we lift up Councilmember Fitzgerald, Councilmember Garcia, Councilmember Martinez, Deputy Mayor Garcia, and Mayor White. May they be granted peace and wisdom as they lead our city into a bright and prosperous future. Amen. Please remain standing as the Escondido Police and Fire Color Guard present the colors.
Please repeat with me the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. You can be seated. We will go ahead and call this meeting to order and do a quick roll call. Councilmember Fitzgerald.
Present.
Councilman Christian Garcia.
Here.
Councilwoman Martinez.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Joe Garcia.
Present.
And I, Mayor White, am here. This brings us to our proclamation portion of this meeting, and I would like to invite Captain Royce Williams up to the front with me and any of his guests who would like to join us. All right, before I get into the proclamation, I want to say on behalf of the City Council and the City of Escondido, I am honored to have this opportunity to recognize Captain Royce Williams, local hometown hero whose story for a long time remained a secret. Captain Williams is best known for an extraordinary air battle on November 18th, 1952, when he flew a U.S. Navy jet, an F-9F Panther, launched from a carrier, which was still relatively new at the time, engaged 7 Soviet fighter jets, shot down 4 of them in a single mission. In one of the most dramatic dogfights in U.S. Navy history, he was outnumbered 7-1. His aircraft was heavily damaged, loss of the hydraulic systems, with cannon shells hitting the fuselage and the wings. And despite this, he still managed to shoot 4 of the enemy aircraft down, continued maneuvering manually when systems failed, and at one point his plane was so damaged that he had to control it almost entirely by physical force, fighting the aircraft just to keep it airborne. He successfully landed back on the carrier, something that many pilots at the time in similar situations did not survive. Many historians consider this dogfight one of the greatest in U.S. naval aviation history, comparable to the most famous air battles ever recorded. And then I just want to say, the Medal of Honor is the highest military award given by the United States government. It recognizes members of the U.S. Armed Forces who display extraordinary bravery and self-sacrifice in combat, going far beyond what is expected, even at the risk of their own lives. And again, it's an honor to be able to recognize a local Medal of Honor recipient with a proclamation. All right. Whereas Captain Elmer Royce Williams, a proud resident of the city of Escondido, is a distinguished veteran of the United States Navy whose life reflects extraordinary courage, honor, and devotion to our nation. And whereas Captain Williams honorably served in World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War, dedicating decades of his life to the defense of freedom and the protection of the American people. And whereas on November 18, 1952, during the Korean War, then Lieutenant Williams demonstrated conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond the call of duty in a historic serial engagement over the Sea of Japan, courageously engaging a superior force of enemy aircraft in what has been recognized as one of the most extraordinary feats in the history of naval aviation. Whereas during that 35-minute dogfight against 7 enemy MiG-15 aircraft, Captain Williams successfully shot down 4 enemy fighters despite sustaining severe damage to his own aircraft and safely returned, preserving both his mission and the lives of his fellow service members. And whereas due to the sensitive nature of the mission, Captain Williams' heroism remained classified for more than 50 years, a testament to his humility, discipline, and unwavering commitment to duty. And whereas on February 24, 2026, more than 7 decades after his heroic actions, Captain Williams was awarded the Medal of Honor, the highest military decoration of the United States, during a nationally unifying moment at the State of the Union address, where Americans across all backgrounds join in honoring his valor. Whereas at 100 years of age, Captain Williams stands as a living embodiment of the greatest generation and as the last living Medal of Honor recipient of the Korean War, representing a legacy of courage, sacrifice, and service that continues to inspire our nation. And whereas the city of Escondido is deeply honored to be home to Captain Williams, whose life of service reflects the very best of our community, our state, and our nation. And whereas it is fitting and proper that the city of Escondido recognize and celebrate Captain Williams' remarkable life, his enduring legacy, and his upcoming birthday on April 4th. Now, therefore, I, Dane White, Mayor of the City of Escondido, and on behalf of the City Council and the residents of Escondido, do hereby proclaim March 29th through April 4th, 2026, as Captain Royce Williams Week in the City of Escondido, and encourage all residents to join in honoring Captain Williams' extraordinary heroism, lifelong service, and steadfast devotion to the ideals of freedom, courage, and duty that unite us as Americans. Thank you.
Can this move a little? So you don't- The tall guy. Oh, right there, coming.
You want this moved?
Sorry. Okay. We'll have him sit down. Okay, perfect. And then once he finds a seat, we have a couple more awards from Supervisor Desmond's office and Mayor John Franklin from Vista.
Good afternoon. My name is Adrienne Cisneros Seligman, representing your County Supervisor, Jim Desmond. And that was very eloquently said, Mr. Mayor. And we have a special proclamation, a countywide proclamation for Captain Royce Williams. And I will just say, not to repeat everything the mayor said, but on February 24th, 2026, that valor that the mayor talked about was finally recognized when our president, Donald Trump, awarded him the Medal of Honor in a long overdue and historic moment. Today, we ensure that his story is not only remembered, but celebrated. Captain Williams' legacy of service, sacrifice, and unshakable resolve inspires us all to rise higher, serve with honor, and never forget those who defend our freedom. So be it proclaimed by Supervisor Desmond and all members of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors on this first day of April 2026 that they commend Captain Royce Williams for his outstanding leadership, commitment to the citizens of San Diego County and our entire grateful nation, and do hereby declare this day to be Captain Royce Williams Medal of Honor Day throughout San Diego County. Congratulations.
Mayor, thank you so much for inviting me to join you in honoring Captain Williams today, and to the Escondido Council, thank you for including me in this opportunity to pay tribute. You know, America has many heroes, but they are not all created equal. Some of them, their heroism is exemplary, and it is an amazing and fitting thing that we have the opportunity to honor you, Captain. I'm not going to read all the whereases, but I just want to say, you know, I remember very clearly it was about 2020 when Steve Lewandowski and Jim Kittrick told your story to Congressman Issa, and I was there, and I got to hear for the first time. And I was there when you received the Navy Cross, and I was there when you came home on the airfield there at Palomar, and to have gotten to be a small part of understanding your story and about how hard, and I want everybody to know how difficult it is, and the great debate that took place in Congress. They talked about Captain Williams and his exploits for years, debating. And it was a decision that at the end, I got to be there. I was with Congressman Issa when the President of the United States called him and said, Darrell, you're right. This man, Royce Williams, deserves this honor, and we're going to do it. And that was incredible. So, Captain, it's an amazing honor as the mayor of the city of Vista to get to also name a day in our city in your honor on your birthday. God bless you, and may you live many more years to be honored fittingly for your heroism. Thank you.
And then we have one more award from the Community Foundation.
Thank you, Mayor. Mine is not a proclamation, and it's not mine anyway. My name is Ken Lounsbury. I'm here representing the Escondido Community Foundation, your neighbors, your friends, the people who've come here to be very thankful for your service. And we have a couple of interesting ways of commemorating that. Thank you very much, Mayor, members of the council. I appreciate this opportunity sincerely. It was unique. On Monday, we received the city clerk's notification of this special session. The foundation board chair, Rosemary Burson, immediately called an emergency meeting of the Foundation Executive Committee. The full board is comprised of 28 people, and we just couldn't get them together on 28 hours, 24 hours. But we were able to bring together the executive committee, the 8 people, who then convened to discuss what it is that we might be able to do to honor this honorable man. The result was, for us, a decision of the very first kind. We'd never done this before. Moment of background. The bronze plaques on the giving arch only recognize foundation members who've made significant contributions or donations toward the many charities that we've supported for the past 20 years. The combined benefits to the Escondido community amount to about $12 million to date, and we're still going. Our decision for the foundation breaks new ground. We're naming Captain Royce Williams as an honorary member of the Escondido Charitable Foundation. And we're posting a bronze plaque on the arch in his honor. His actions will be described in the plaque, and he will be remembered as long as the giving arch stands. The reasoning for the decision was really quite simple. Captain Williams' contribution to our community more than equals the donations made by our members. We're thankful to him. We welcome him as a highly valued member of the foundation. Welcome.
Once again, just to close this part of the meeting, once again, on behalf of the City of Escondido, thank you for allowing us this opportunity to honor you as a Medal of Honor recipient and local hometown hero. This is fabulous. You got a bunch of supporters here. Thank you for being here tonight, and congratulations, and thank you for your service. And that'll conclude the presentation portion of this meeting, and we're going to take a 5-minute recess because I don't think many of you are going to stick around for the rest of the meeting. So I think there's refreshments still outside. Yeah, okay, under the rotunda, there are refreshments outside, so thank you.
Mr. Mayor, you want to lead us in singing happy birthday to Royce?
Yeah, there we go. All right, thank you, everybody. We'll go ahead and reconvene the meeting and move on to our next presentation for the Earth Day Recycling Art Contest winners. Thank you.
Okay, with all of you, we'd like to continue with these festivities. Good afternoon, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and council members. My name is Kim Silva, and with me today is Ting Yao, Gio Cortez, and Fernando Moreno. We work in the recycling and waste reduction section of the Utilities Department. We're super excited to be here with all of you today to, again, continue these festivities and celebrate our annual Earth Day Art Contest. This year's contest theme is What Earth Day Means to Me. We received over 150 entries from 13 different schools, including private, public, and charter schools. Students were required to use only recycled or repurposed materials to create their 3D art pieces. Posters were judged on artistic skill, creativity, and the representation of the theme. City staff was invited to help with the challenging task of selecting the top winners for each category. And today we are going to be recognizing the top 3 winners from K through 2nd, 3rd through 5th, and 6th through 8th. We've joined forces with the Escondido Art Partnership to showcase these masterpieces at the Municipal Gallery here on Grant. Photos of the winners will also be displayed on the city's website and our social media platforms. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of our sponsors shown here who donated prizes to the contest. And a special thank you to Chick-fil-A, who's going to be catering our event after this presentation. So a big thank you to them. And before we announce our winners, I would like to remind everyone of a few upcoming events that you can participate in, such as our Earth Day event at Queen Califia, our Creek to Bay cleanup on April 25th, and if you're super proud of your sustainable landscape, please enter our landscape contest by May 9th. We also have a compost workshop on May 23rd and an exciting landscape class on Saturday, May 30th. And now we are ready to start announcing our winners. Thank you all for waiting so patiently with us. Students, when Fernando calls your name, please come on up to the podium.
We're going to come down and join you. We'd like to shake all their hands.
You are, yes. So teachers, if you are here, please also come with your students. Principal, please also come up. And students, and after we're done announcing all of the awards, we'll take a brief moment to take some additional photos. And then you'll follow me outside where we will then enjoy our wonderful reception. So we'll let everyone get situated and we'll start.
I am pleased to introduce the winners of our Earth Day Recycling Art Contest. For the K through second grade, our third place winner from Bernardo Elementary in Ms. Rodriguez's second grade class, we have Ariel Shargi. Ariel will actually be receiving her prize at a later date. Our second place winner from Bernardo Elementary School in Ms. Erdo's second grade class, Aria Grossreader. Please come up and accept your prize. And for our first place winner for the K through second grade class from Orange Glen Elementary in Ms. Lopez's TK class, Nathan Adriel Vasquez. For the third through fifth grade group, our third place winner from Lincoln Elementary in Ms. Catalan's fifth grade class, we have Ashley Mendez. For our second place winner from Oak Hill Elementary in Ms. Handy's third grade class, we have Alexander Medina, also joined by their principal, Dr. Carmen Madrigal. And for our first place winner for the third through fifth grade group, also from Lincoln Elementary in Ms. Catalan's fifth grade class, Citlali Gutierrez. Now moving on into our final group entries for 6th through 8th grade. For our third place winner from Grade Christian School in Ms. Hemmer's 6th grade class, we have Aubrey Boalty. For our second place winner from the Classical Academy in Mr. Long's 7th grade class, we have Ella Reinhardt. And for our first place winner for the 6th through 8th grade group, also from the Classical Academy in Ms. Vaughn's 6th grade class, we have Eleanor Galean. On behalf of the city, thank you to each of our winners, participants, educators, families, and staff who helped make this contest a success. We are proud to showcase your artwork and to celebrate the creativity that strengthens our community. Thank you and congratulations to all our winners. Parents, now's the opportunity to come up and take a picture if you'd like. Students, teachers, and parents, please follow Ms. Kim Silva to the, oh.
All right, we'll now have a presentation, update from the Escondido Library Board of Trustees.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us here. My name is Maribel Cruz Reyes. I'm the President of the Board of Trustees, and with me I have fellow board member John Schwab. Today, I just want to go over some notable changes that have been happening at the library. We'll talk about a little bit about the collection budget and just some of our input for planning for the future. So the Escondido Public Library is currently defined as a fine-free library, and this is a result of a couple different changes to our fees policy dating back from 2019, when we removed fees associated renting books on CD. Similarly, between 2019 and 2020, we removed fees associated with renting DVDs, and this was particularly because of a software limitation, but it seemed to follow the precedent that we had with the books on CD. In 2020, in response to the COVID-19 epidemic, in response to community impact and limited access to the library, the board decided to implement an auto renewal policy so that when books came due, the system would just automatically renew, thus there would be no late fees. I do want to note that as a result of these changes, any revenue that used to be collected for fees generally tended to be between $40,000 and $50,000 annually. And as far as we're aware, a lot of that money went back into the general funds, not necessarily back to the circulation budget directly. But today, the library is a lot more than books, a lot more than physical books, I should say. Today, we have about 3 cultural events a month, and that's outside of our regular programming, which is typically story times, bilingual book clubs, and inclusive art clubs. So these cultural events tend to center around concerts, holidays, and special interest events. Because we've been able to get more foot traffic into the library, we have actually hit a milestone of 100,000 registered borrowers, which is a really awesome milestone for us to have reached. As I mentioned, because we are more than just physical books, there is an increase in demand for digital services, which now account for about 20% of our services. And so inflation and increased demand have really contributed to high costs. So for example, the digital service Hoopla in the prior year capped at about $25,000. And this cost is a per use, right? And so it kept increasing and actually accounted for 10% of our budget, but only 4% of the items being circulated. So in consultation with the library director, the library board of trustees decided to implement a $15,000 annual cap, which amounts to about $1,250 monthly. On top of that, we also reduced the number of items that could be checked out monthly per patron from 5 to 3. As a result, there was a lot of patron dissatisfaction because a lot of people were being locked out or limited on what they can check out. And so we looked at the data to see who was using this resource and to ensure that Escondido monies is going to our residents, we further limited this resource only to verified Escondido users. So really make sure that our community can access this. I do want to make it clear that non-Escondido residents can use other services in the library, but because Hoopla is a pay-per-use service, it had to be kind of brought back. Over the last 2 years, the board has increased a lot more collaboratively with our local foundation and friends groups, and it's really a reciprocal relationship that we have. So for example, the Friends of the Library operate a storefront, currently right now in the mall since we're in a temporary location, but they do have a storefront in our main branch. And a lot of that revenue that is generated goes to fund a lot of our programming and literacy services, which helps alleviate some of the budget concerns and doesn't take away from our circulation budget. Due to the temporary relocation, it's due to an infrastructure project in the library, and we hope to be opening up in a couple of months. There are costs associated with that project that are not covered by the grant, particularly furniture, fixtures, and equipment. And so this effort really was led by our prior president, Virginia Burnell, to work with our foundations and friends group to try to secure financial support for those funds. The Library Board of Trustees has also approved trust fund monies to go and help support, and this has amounted about $300,000 that between the foundations, friends, and us we have generated, and there are conversations about more in the pipeline. And so we are really ramping up community work to be able to further support the library, but a lot of this is met with limitations surrounding our collection budget, and so I'll hand it off to John, who will talk about that a bit more.
So, as some of you might be aware, we started the LS&S contract in 2018, January, and at that point, the collection budget was $250,000, which it remains at today. The where'd my sheet go? There it is. The budget for the two LS&S that the city gives them to each year to run the library started out at $2,475,000 in January of 2018. And this coming fiscal year, 26 through 27, it will be $3,216,933. When you divide those two numbers, you see that the LS&S budget has gone up 29.97% over the life of the contract. And the collection budget has remained the same. Had the collection budget been on the same escalation protocol as the budget, the collection budget today would be $324,900. Okay, looking at statistics, looking at the average from 2006 to 2016, you can see that the collection budget was all over the place. We have no records to say exactly what it was spent on, but it averaged $280,000 for those 10 years. But it decreased for the last 4 years, and we're assuming that part of that was because state funding assistance ended in 2012. Over that period, we've had trust fund money from the board, Friends of the Library, and other support that helped augment the collection budget. When LS&S took over, the budget was established at $250,000. I asked the head of the LS&S library operations what she thought of our collection budget in respect to other libraries of our size throughout the United States, and she said it was in the ballpark. We were in the middle range, and it was a good budget for us at that time. Okay, looking at statistics through 2024, which is all the statistics we have because nothing for 2025 has been released yet. Of the 44 libraries in Escondido of similar size to us, their median per capita spending, I'm talking median versus average because if you take Berkeley out of the average, Berkeley is $18 per capita. So that the median takes that out, and you can see the median at $2.31, and we are at where we've been since 2018 at $1.66, give or take. So no matter how you look at it, we are way below where we should be. There was another graph that was, or a slide sheet that was put together by city, and that shows us in 6th place out of 8 in the county of San Diego, and it shows our per capita at 1.58 versus what we've calculated at 1.66. So it makes the situation worse than it is now. So going forward, which button to push? That one. Okay. Going forward, the collection budget to be somewhere in the range of the median of the other cities would have to be between $300,000 and $350,000 a year. $350,000 would get us $240,000 per capita, and again, I'll point out that if the contract escalation had been applied to the budget, the collection budget, we would be talking about having a collection budget of $324,000 for the next fiscal year beginning this July. So we recommend that the council increase the collection budget to get us into the range of the rest of the people, the other cities in California, because we are now, what did Warren Buffett say, that when the tide goes out, you can see who's not wearing a bathing suit? That's where we're hurting now on what we can spend money on. And I would strongly recommend that whatever increase the council adopts for the collection budget, please tie it to some type of annual increase, the same one that goes with the L&S budget, or something else that makes more sense, but please put in an annual increase of some amount so that we don't have to come here in another 8 or 10 years, assuming I live that long, and ask for another increase. So that's it. Any questions?
Thank you for being here. I think I said this to you last time you were here, but having this temporary location in the mall has been fantastic. I've received nothing but raving reviews about that. When was the last time the city council had a discussion around our contribution?
Not during my tenure, Mayor. I
Okay.
know it is in the staff's, when the budget process comes forward, there will be a discussion about this item.
That answers my next question. Perfect. Thank you. I'll turn it over to my colleagues.
Thank you for your presentation. Yes, I'm in agreement. I mean, thinking about there have been no increases since 2018, and it sounds like you're offering more at the library with the media, computers, and then also taking away the fees on the rental fees. I think what you're asking is very reasonable. So I appreciate the presentation and everything you're doing. I do have a question regarding, once you removed the fees, did you find that there was an increase in visits and in checkouts?
I don't know if we have any statistics on that, but I seriously doubt it. I think it remained the same.
Did it have anything to do with the location of it being at the mall, or is this?
The fine-free thing, which I wasn't in favor. I'd like to see young people be given, responsibility and tasked with, But anyway, we're fine-free. What we did see is that our overall checkouts of books from existing patrons has gone up since we went to the mall.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's gone up. And I think that might be that they go to the mall more often than they go to the library, and they just have a place to pick up books on a more regular basis. I really don't know why, but it's gone up. And I will say, yes, the mall's a great thing, but the location at the mall and the logistics to get the library there and support it, we have the city to thank for that. That was they've gone above and beyond. That was the expense involved in doing that turned out to be far more than anybody thought it would be. And the city, Jennifer Shenick, with the finding the location and all the support from Public Works has been fantastic. I can't say enough good things about that, which I just can't understand why we're still at $250,000.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add real quick that the auto renewal and the removal of the fees predates the renovation and the temporary location. So that took place about 2020, whereas the reconstruction project has happened within the last year.
Okay. Well, I think it's safe to say that once the new library opens up with everything that it's going to be offering, I think there'll be more people going and participating, checking things out.
Yeah, well, this has been great because of collaboration with the city and the Friends of the Library, Library Foundation, and the Board of Trustees. We really worked together to make sure that everything we wanted to put in the renovated library got there, because unless it's nailed down to the structure, you can't put it in the grant. And the city got real creative with that, and those three groups I just mentioned made up the difference in the funds that were required to do it. So it's going to be a good building when we get back in there.
Well, libraries are very important in any community, every community, and especially now that we have so much more that we're offering with the renovation. It's just a really exciting time for Escondido, and I think it's going to be a bigger draw. So I appreciate your presentation, and then also I think what you're asking for is very reasonable. But thank you.
Thank you.
We'll just go. All right. So great presentation. Thank you. I always felt that being at the mall was going to be awesome. And I think it's great that there's been an increase in checking out. And I think what you said is probably true, that there are probably more people that hang out there and it's readily accessible. So that's great. I wasn't aware that our budget had continued. We had seen an increase in the contractual obligations, but hadn't seen this. So I'm really looking forward to having a robust discussion regarding this. Literacy is very important. I just got invited to do some reading and speak about literacy at Conway School here in Escondido, and I'm really excited. I've been able to go every year now for a number of years, and I really look forward to us to be able to continue a partnership when our library opens up here. I think it's going to be beyond fantastic. Some of the things that we've seen, it was the right time, and I really look forward to us being able to continue to support our community in better ways. So thank you.
Thank you for the presentation and just for the great work you all do. You're all very passionate about our library, and it shows. So thank you for all the commitment and love that you showed to this amazing public asset. I'm excited about the new renovations. I think it's late summer. We're having the grand opening, so I'm excited for the community to see that. Quick question on Hoopla. Can you just explain what that is for those that may not know?
It's a website where you can download books, and they have a selection of books that they have books that aren't available on the normal site, which is what called Libby.
Okay.
And we had a situation where patrons, when we put the cap on it, because the expense was just getting out of hand, when we put the cap on, the daily cap was being reached at 1 a.m. on the day. And then we had to find out, to work with Reno to find out more things we could do. And when we got rid of the non-Escondido zip codes, and we sent out, the library sent out emails to everybody that was getting pushed out. Or blocked out. Hey, if you work in Escondido, if you have roots here, if you have some connection here, and you would like to come talk to us, so we'll put you back in. So we got almost zero response. Or we did get zero? Zero. Nobody came in. So we're not sure who was using it in San Diego. I bet I know who was using it over in next door where Cal State San Marcos is. But when we put those caps in, then the daily cap was reached around noon or 1 o'clock, which gave our patrons the opportunity to mainly get books.
Awesome. Okay, great. And then just one thing to think about. I love just the partnerships and the foundations and the Friends of the Library and the volunteers, because it's really a community that helps our library. And it's not just a place for books and media rentals, but or checking out, but it's also cultural events, literacy, book clubs, celebrating different holidays and crafts and things. So I really appreciate that. One thing that I see is there's certain books that are not available at libraries, one thing that I've observed, and those are like, what they call the coffee books. Those really pricey $50 to $100 fancy books that are really thick. And so I just want to put that out there as you continue, because I feel like you all are very innovative and seeing things. If you go to Barnes & Noble, they're wrapped in plastic, so you can't see them at Barnes & Noble, okay, because I love decor. And if you go to, so no one has them, you can't check them out, you either have to spend $50 to $100. And so maybe there could be a partnership, and again, just throwing out ideas of our Center for the Arts having some kind of books that can be used, maybe you keep them on site, but the Mingay Museum has upstairs a library of art books. And it's like the coffee books, but you have to see them in their library. You can't check them out. So just putting that out there of just different offerings, because anything we can do to bring more people to use our libraries, but I really think the renovation is going to do that. And again, thank you for your commitment and the presentation. I didn't realize, I learned some new things through this presentation, and I definitely support increasing your collection budget, and those will be conversations that we have as we deliberate during our budget meeting. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Okay. And take a look at Link Plus That's a link the library has to, how many libraries throughout California now? How many?
Link Plus, how many
Link Plus, how many?
We average like 400 a month.
Yeah, but how many libraries do we have access to now?
50, it's like 7 million books.
Yeah, so through Link Plus, you can just order online or go in and ask one of the librarians to do it for you. We can get a book delivered from 40 or 50 different libraries throughout California, no cost. It's just another book that you've checked out. And there's amazing things in other libraries. So maybe they have some of those.
Thank you.
All right.
Oh, did we have one more question?
No, that's okay. That's okay. It's not that important.
Go ahead, Christian.
I just want to say thank you. And I'll echo what everyone else said. I'll just leave it simple. One of the things I do want to consider, though, is the possibility of just, and I know John and I talked about this briefly, potentially looking at satellite option, keeping something there. I know the current one is pretty expensive, but if we could explore, you guys do your due diligence, we will do ours, of just seeing like what's possible. Even if it's just the presence there, I think that's what's really attracting people at the mall.
Well,
So.
I think LS&S can give us a real good idea of what a successful branch library looks like square footage wise. And we can just go from there and see if the numbers make sense.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again. We'll move on to non-agenda public comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We do have a number of members of the public wishing to speak on non-agenda items. Our first speaker is Joe Portman. Oh, thank you, Mayor. Yeah, great.
Honorable Mayor, council members, staff. My name is Joe Portman, President of the Escondido Firefighters Association. I've come here tonight to speak on our staffing. We just received an update that we are down 10%. While that seems like a big number, I would like to take the opportunity to explain, since Measure I is passed, we have been able to start bolstering our staffing, thanks in part to you, through the vision of the mayor and the council. They understood our needs for more chief positions, an extra ambulance, and hopefully in the near future, an added engine. With these additions, they need to be staffed. And we are currently in the process of hiring for all of these positions. So we're very excited about that. It takes a period of time, usually around 6 months. Some would say that is a very long time from the outside looking in. Our city, especially our Human Resources Department, has streamlined this process to place people on the floor as quick, if not quicker, than any city in our zone. We also had one of the most successful hiring process in many years, and that's thanks to the council and our staff and everyone else that is involved with that. We appreciate your support in public safety, and we understand the need to increase staffing with Measure I funding. Hopefully RA 138 will be placed online here shortly once we get everybody hired and in place. This will give us better response times and ensure that our citizens are receiving the best services possible through the Escondido Fire Department. And the Escondido Firefighters Association would just like to thank you for your continued support in public safety. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Joe Crone. Totally.
Hello, my friends. My name is Joe Coyle, and today I'm representing the Escondido Chamber of Commerce. And I come on behalf saying thank you, number one, for the support that you all have given us over the past and over the years, and maybe talk a little bit more about how we can get on the same page together of what we're trying to accomplish together for our city. What I've found is a strong chamber makes a strong city, and a strong city makes for a strong chamber, because together we have the same exact purpose of what we're trying to bring together. The common purpose of making sure our businesses are happy, that they're providing the resources that we need for our community, and that our community is being taken care of by our business community, and that we're together partnering to make our city as great as it can be. We're 115 years this year coming up, and as you've known, probably in the 115 years, there have been some bumps and bruises along those roads that we haven't been there to establish and been a part of it. We have been a part of one right now. But I come to here to bring good news. We are on the upswing. We are becoming a strong chamber of commerce again. And I want to become, on behalf of what we're trying to accomplish, what we're trying to reach out, we have been 100% volunteer for the last 2 years. But through that volunteer organization, we've done Grand Avenue festivals, we've done Community and Unity, we've supported so many events of ribbon cuttings and events that are going on, and we have our golf tournament that we support for our heroes. We are doing our part, and what we're asking, and we're thanking you for, is that cooperation as we come together and as we come through this tumultuous time, as we rise from our ashes, that you will be a part of us and join us in our successful vision of being what we want to be for Escondido. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Coyle. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Laura Hunter.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm here today. I brought my prop to remind us all of the honor of the gentleman who was here and to remind us all that addressing our City Council is a right in a democratic society. I was really dismayed when I came back from vacation and I found this letter in my mailbox. And this is a fundraising letter from the Dane White for Mayor. I don't know where the camera is, but I'd like to show it to them, for mayor. And in it, it is so disappointing. It misrepresents, and I'm sorry to say, and I don't like to use this word, but you lied about what happened during the cancel the contract hearing. And it's just really so dismaying. I think residents will be shocked to hear how you really perceive them and literally your contempt for your own constituents in the city. They were not forcing you, they were asking you. They were not plotting against you, they were advocating, as is our right in a democracy. I don't think you understand the difference. In this, you also reveal that you lied about your reasons for supporting the contract. And I think this letter is so sad and it's such a huge setback for a city, but I think it's important that people understand how you really feel about them. So I'm gonna read as much of it as I can until my time runs out. Dane White for mayor. Dear friends, Escondido was in the news this past week as activist groups, no, we were residents, came into our community, no, we live here, and tried to force the city to end its relationship with law enforcement agencies, no, just one of them, who use our facilities for training purposes. In the first sentence, you have so many misrepresentations. It was Escondido residents that were here. It was impacted community members. We were asking you to end the relationship with one lawless rogue agency, ICE, that they've been all over the place and violating judge orders. And honestly, it's not even just training that they're doing here, it's shooting practice. They're learning how to shoot us better. They're not doing de-escalation training, anything else. Here's another good one. It all came to a head at our city council meeting last Wednesday after nearly 5 hours of relentless testimony from out-of-town anti-ICE activist groups. Our council majority, the four of you, held together to put an end to the ridiculous notion that we should terminate our contract with DHS. Really, is our safety a ridiculous notion to you? People were here begging you, playing videos of what is going on in our city, and you completely blew them off. There's more, we'll read it again in another read, but if you view your constituents this way, you should apologize for this letter. If you do view us this way, you should resign.
Thank you, Ms. Hunter. Our next speaker is Stephen Strumish. Stephen Strumish. All right. Layla Sackfield.
Mayor White, City Council people, I'm here tonight to represent the California Center for the Arts Foundation as their chair. And just a reminder to all of you and to the public as well, that thanks to the support of the city and the contributions you make to ensure that we're able to provide some free events, there's an amazing event happening tonight. It is a part of our resurgence of our first Wednesday series. It will be held in the major big theater, the concert hall. And appropriately, not knowing that this was all going to happen, it will be the Marine Corps West Composite Band, which consists of the 1st Marine Band from Camp Pendleton, the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing Band from Miramar, and the San Diego Band. And we invite all of you to come. Thank you for that support. Concerts like this are possible because of the support we have and the relationship we have with the city. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Leila. Our next speaker is Greg Oliver. Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I'm Greg Oliver. We are often told that Proposition S is the primary obstacle for building homes for our workforce, our middle class. But let's be clear, Prop S was meant to prevent 3 council members from having sole discretion over our city's future. It was never meant to be a permanent excuse for inaction. We know that Prop S can be and is mitigated by specific plans. In areas like downtown and the East Valley Corridor, increased density is already legal and has been for years. In these zones, the council has the power to approve high-density projects without costly public elections that chill development. The state's RHNA process told Escondido we need over 1,500 moderate income units by 2029. As of today, we've permitted 92. That's 6%. That's our success rate for our teachers and our first responders. Meanwhile, we've hit 36% of the goal for expensive homes for luxury earners. The obstacle isn't the law, it's our choices. We're failing our middle class residents because we aren't using the tools we already have. Even worse, our shortfall for low-income housing is exasperating because we can get government funding, like the Community Development Block Grant that is moving towards expiration. That isn't a Prop S problem. That too is a matter of priority. It's a choice. If you want to see a model that works, look at Carmel Valley and their 10% inclusionary housing ordinance. It's a simple rule that ensures developers set aside units for the workforce for 55 years. It hasn't stopped growth or hurt property values. It created a community where people can actually live where they work. San Diego's policy provides that density is a tool for integration, not just developer profit. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We just need the political courage to stop letting developers take 100% of the profit while giving back 0% in affordability. Our success rate is 6%, and that shows exactly who's being left behind. And as far as canceling the contract, we absolutely should do that. Because we've seen ICE move across the country, and we've seen that everywhere they go, they try to romance the local government into allowing them to set up a headquarters or set up a detention center or something. And we don't have the will in our council. We don't have the will here to say no. So we can't let them in to begin with. It's the thin end of the wedge, and it would be a disaster for the community. Thank you.
No further public comments on this item.
All right, we'll move on to the consent calendar. Tonight, items 1 through 11 are on consent, and I would ask for a motion to approve.
Can I move to approve? I'm going to go ahead and just record my no vote on item 10 for second reading.
Perfect, thank you.
Likewise.
Will you make the motion then?
Yes, I'll move to approve the consent calendar, and then with the exception of item 10, recording my no vote.
Same with
Same.
Deputy Mayor Garcia.
Yeah. And that is reflected in the minutes and the ordinance, yes.
Perfect. I'll second that. Please vote.
Thank you.
Voting is open. Oh, did it log you out? Let's do a voice vote. It's possible that it could have logged you out, so.
Perfect. Does it need to be roll call or just?
All in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor? Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion approved, 5-0.
Okay, that brings us to our first public hearing, item 12, which is to approve proposed sale of vacant lot owned portions that are exempt from surplus land, and I'll turn the time over to engineering. Thank you.
Honorable Mayor.
Before you start,
Yes.
I'm going to open the public hearing.
Thank
There
you.
you go.
Honorable Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and members of City Council, good evening. My name is Kevin Snyder, and I am your Development Services Director. Tonight, I have the privilege of introducing Leah Cabrera. I said that wrong. Cabrera, excuse me. Leah is a new member of Team Escondido, and she's been with us for approximately 6 months. She is our engineering manager in development services. And as is tradition, when we have a new member of our team, the department head comes forward and introduces her so that you have a little knowledge about her before she speaks with you this evening. So a little bit about Leah. She is, again, been with us for approximately 6 months. Prior to that, she worked for the city of Encinitas, and prior to that, she worked in the private sector. Leah is experienced in managing both land development and capital improvement projects. She is a breath of fresh air. She is someone who has a high quality customer service focus and a positive can-do attitude. And she is making an impact in her short time with us, and we're very grateful to have her as part of our team. In her spare time, when she's not working on behalf of the city of Escondido, she spends time with her 3 dogs and her daughter, who happens to be graduating high school this June. So with that, I want to say welcome to Leah, and thank you for the opportunity to introduce her.
Thank you for that great introduction. Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, members of the council, residents, and staff. I will be presenting the proposed sale of city property to KB Homes. Today, I will provide a review of the project and the item for consideration. And after I present the slides, council will be asked to consider approval of the proposed sale of vacant city-owned parcels located on North Center City Parkway to KB Homes and declare the property as exempt from surplus property. Nutmeg Homes, also known as City Vista Development, is located in northern Escondido on both sides of Nutmeg Street between North Center City Parkway and Interstate 15. The project to construct 124 new homes is currently under construction with grading and drainage work underway. The city's relinquishment of right-of-way and sale of the underlying property was anticipated and included in a previously approved city resolution number 2019-168. The city of Escondido owns the approximately 44,000 square foot property that spans over portions of 2 parcels and is currently vacant. The figure on the screen shows the proposed property for sale that we are discussing in blue. On November 13th in 1978, the California Department of Transportation relinquished the property to the city of Escondido via a recorded document and a relinquishment. On November 20th in 2019, the City Council approved KB Homes' development application to build these new homes. On the screen is an excerpt from the engineering conditions of approval stating City Council shall be the approving body of the street vacation and the developer shall pay for an appraisal and compensate the city fair market value of the property being vacated. So pursuant to KB Homes' approved development application and the project's conditions of approval, KB Homes provided a fair market value appraisal of the property in the sum of $15,400. The California Surplus Land Act mandates that local public agencies prioritize affordable housing when disposing of land no longer needed for their use. Typically, when surplus land is identified, agencies send a notice of availability to other developers and public agencies registered with the California Department of Housing and Community Development. The Surplus Land Act exempts certain surplus land that is former street, right-of-way, or easement that is conveyed to the owner of the adjacent property, which this property falls under. On March 6, 2026, staff received written confirmation from HCD that the property qualifies for an exemption. Staff also received written confirmation from utilities representatives that there are no facilities present in the property under consideration for sale. Staff recommends City Council approve Resolution Number 2026-18 to approve the proposed sale of vacant city-owned property located on North Center City Parkway to KB Homes, declare the property as exempt from surplus property, and authorize the mayor and all authorized officers to execute certain documents required to implement the sale for the purchase price of $15,400. That concludes the presentation, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you very much. There are no public comments, and I'm assuming nobody's here from KB that wants to speak. Perfect. Then we will close the public hearing, and I'll turn it over to the council for any questions, if there are any. If not, I'll entertain a motion. There is a motion. I'll second it. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Oh, no, I was going to second, but welcome to the team, Leah.
Thank you.
Great. Yes, welcome, Leah. The $15,000, what, does that go back to the general fund? Does that go to development services? Where does that $15,000 go, out of curiosity?
You know, I don't know the answer.
Oh, I think our city manager might.
It will go to the
Oh,
general fund.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
Huh?
All right, I have no questions, and if there are not any more, did you need something too?
I'll just say we'll do a normal, the vote like we did last time. We'll
Okay,
do a-
perfect.
yeah, so
Then, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion approved, 5-0.
We'll move on to, thank you again. We'll move on to item 13, which is the city position vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts. Public meeting is open.
And just for a point of clarification, I believe Mr. Portman's comments were about this item, and so just, he said that you had seen something, you will now see that item.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'm Daniel Alvarado, Human Resources Manager. We'll start from the beginning. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. I'm Daniel Alvarado, Human Resources Manager. My presentation this evening is regarding the city's vacancies and recruitment and retention efforts, specifically as a result of Assembly Bill 2561. AB 2561 became effective on January 1st, 2025. The law added Section 3502.3 to the California Government Code and requires public agencies to present on the status of vacancies and recruitment retention efforts during a public hearing before their governing board at least once per fiscal year prior to the adoption of the final budget. The law also requires public agencies to present additional information regarding vacancies upon request by an employee organization if the vacancy rate within a bargaining unit is at least 20%, and allow employee organizations to make a presentation to City Council. All Escondido bargaining groups were notified on March 17th, 2026. The state legislature identified several problems leading to the creation of AB 2561, including job vacancies in local government are a widespread and significant problem for the public sector, affecting occupations across wage levels and educational requirements. High job vacancies impact public service delivery and the workers who are forced to handle heavier workloads with understaffing leading to burnout and increased turnover that further exacerbate staffing challenges. Further, there is a statewide interest in ensuring that public agency operations are appropriately staffed and that high vacancy rates do not undermine public employee labor relations. The purpose of the bill was to promote transparency with vacancy data, encourage proactive strategies to fill vacancies, and support employee organizations by providing employee input on staffing issues. As it relates to the city of Escondido, at the end of the 2025 calendar year, the city had 875 full-time positions budgeted, an increase of 37 positions from 2024 to 2025. 65 of these positions were vacant as of January 7th, 2026, for an approximate 7.43% vacancy rate. This chart shows the end of the calendar year 2025 vacancy rates by bargaining group. The circled number at the top of each bar shows the budgeted positions. The number of filled positions in each bargaining group are in blue, the number of vacancies per group are in red, and the green line going across represents the vacancy rate per group. As you'll see, Teamsters 911 Maintenance and Operations has 198 positions with 9 vacancies for a 4.55% vacancy rate. The Escondido Police Officers Association, with 153 positions, had 6 vacancies and a 3.92% vacancy rate. The Escondido Firefighters Association Safety and Non-Safety Group had 111 positions with 12 vacancies for a 10.81% vacancy rate. The Teamsters 911 Administrative, Clerical, and Engineering Group had 91 positions, 7 vacancies, and a 7.69% vacancy rate. The Escondido City Employees Association Supervisor Group had 46 positions, 3 vacancies, and a 6.52% vacancy rate. The Escondido Police Officers Association Non-Sworn Group had 42 positions, 10 vacancies for 23.81%. Since the POA non-sworn group has exceeded the 20% vacancy rate amount, per AB 2561, I'll be providing additional position vacancy information for this group later in the presentation. Additionally, it's important to note that since this group has the fewest number of positions per group, any position vacancy that occurs exponentially increases their vacancy rate. For the calendar year 2025, here are some statistics for recruitment activities performed by our personnel team. There were 169 recruitments opened, 8,554 applications received, 112 tests administered, and 1,626 candidates tested, including written exams, practical assessments, and interviews, resulting in 202 hires being processed. The recruiting, selection, and onboarding functions fall under the Personnel Division and are administered by 1 Human Resources Coordinator and supported by 3 Human Resources Technicians and 1 Senior Administrative Assistant. Additionally, 1 Human Resources Analyst and 1 Senior HR Analyst manage and coordinate multi-part assessment centers for public safety promotional recruitments. This team will also assist with sitting on interview panels for various recruitments throughout the year, including the Human Resources Manager that oversees the Personnel Division. As you can see, this is a small but mighty team managing a large volume of recruitments, and this is just one function of many under the Personnel Division. The Human Resource Department works with operating departments to prioritize upcoming recruitments and ensures the city meets staffing needs. We post all job announcements on the city's website, as well as governmentjobs.com, careersingovernment.com, and indeed.com to attract qualified applicants. We also submit job postings to industry-specific websites as appropriate. Additionally, Human Resources accepts online interest cards that notify candidates when the city initiates a recruitment related to their interests. Human Resources has also worked with the city's communications team to add recruitment-related posts to the city's social media accounts to further engage and attract qualified candidates and enhance the city's branding. We attend career fairs in order to promote the City of Escondido employment opportunities. And last, the city participates and works with local schools or individuals to provide internship opportunities as the need arises. To assist with retention efforts, Human Resources will regularly review salary structures to remain competitive. This may also be done when we are experiencing hard to recruit for positions or seeing labor market fluctuations. We also strive to maintain competitive benefits. Human Resources conducts benefit surveys with comparable agencies and meets with the city's benefits broker on a regular basis to discuss current and future benefits trends, issues, and concerns. And to develop and retain top talent, we provide annual training and development by way of hosting a 5-day Supervisors Academy for new or aspiring supervisors and an 8-day Management Academy for managers and directors. We also provide promotional opportunities to both our temporary part-time and regular full-time staff. Because the non-sworn POA group exceeded the 20% vacancy rate, we'll take a deeper dive into the details. There were 13 vacancies throughout the 2025 calendar year, with a total of 422 applicants and an average time to hire of 295 days. Additionally, the recruitments for this group can be multiple steps, including a written exam, oral interview, and a personal information questionnaire that must be completed for the extensive backgrounds that successful candidates must go through before being made an official offer of employment and hired. Of the 13 vacancies experienced in 2025, 1 was a senior property and evidence technician. This position was recruited for by a closed competitive recruitment and filled within 42 days from the vacancy date. There were 2 community service officer positions. It was determined that through attrition, these positions would be reclassified. Additionally, these positions have been vacant for a significant amount of time, one since 2022 and the other since 2024, which heavily influenced the average time to hire to approximately 300 days for the NSP group. 4 of the vacancies were police records technicians. The supervisor position over these positions was vacant, and a decision was made to defer filling the technician positions until the supervisor position was filled. The majority of these vacancies consisted of police dispatch positions. 5 were public safety dispatcher 1-2 positions, and 1 was a public safety shift supervisor. These are traditionally hard to recruit, hard to retain, and high turnover positions due to the nature of their job. To assist in our recruitment and retention efforts for the non-sworn POA labor group, we have been in the last year through labor negotiations. The city negotiated and the city council authorized a 6% across-the-board compensation increase that went into effect in July 2025, and subsequent 5% increases are expected in July 26 and July 27 to support competitiveness and retention. Floating holidays were increased from 1 to 3 days, and 27 hours of bereavement leave were added to support employee well-being and workforce stability. In regard to work schedules, the majority of the police department works a 4-10 schedule, while dispatch mostly works a 3-12 schedule, allowing for better shift coverage and employee time off. To support operational needs and employee well-being, we established a provision to allow employees at their request and with supervisor approval to combine their 15-minute rest break with their lunch period not to exceed 45 minutes. As this is an annual presentation, Human Resources will continue to monitor vacancy rates for each employee labor group. If a vacancy rate for any labor group reaches 20% at the end of each calendar year, we will provide notification to them in anticipation of this presentation for their awareness. We'll also evaluate any necessary changes to policies, procedures, and recruitment activities identified as obstacles in the hiring process. And lastly, we'll continue to provide this presentation to you on an annual basis in compliance with AB 2561. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Are there any public comments?
None.
Okay, I'll turn it over to my colleagues. Nothing? Go ahead.
Thank you for the presentation, Daniel. Let's see. Can you go to page, or the slide number 5, please?
Yes.
So the MNO on that first one, what are those positions again?
Those are maintenance, mostly maintenance positions.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. I just had a question on that. And then also, how many total dispatcher positions are there, not just to fill, but total? What is the total number, approximately?
Actually, I don't have the answer to that.
Oh, the chief's here. 22? 22 dispatchers and 4 supervisors.
Including.
Okay, and those aren't so we're not full to the 22. So I'm assuming that there's a lot of overtime with those dispatchers?
Correct.
Okay. And the reason I ask that is because I'm looking at just the shortages, especially in the emergency services. So it doesn't even have to be sworn. It's the dispatchers that are under a lot of stress as well. And so I'm thinking of, if they have to work overtime just to cover shifts, and there's no work-family balance, then that's going to create just a high-stress situation, and it's their ability to respond well to...
Councilmember?
Yeah.
I would just point out that if you could go to the slide that shows what council actions took during the negotiation to address these exact points. Just remember, this is a settlement that you have just realized. We're reporting over the prior year. So these were the steps that you took as a group to address these specific concerns that you're illustrating. So you have taken action to address some of the things you're bringing forward through these specific concerns.
Yes, and I'm stressing just the importance of it as far as needing to fill it and why that is a priority. So thank you for pointing that out. But yes, the fatigue, the burnout, the stress. So I appreciate what you're doing in getting the word out, just the marketing out there and everybody that is involved in the hiring. So, and then also it looks like there's a really good hiring process. Joe Portman presented that as well. But anyway, good job, and I'm glad you guys are taking care of everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to address, we're about full now in dispatch. We have quite a few trainees, so we appreciate what you did to help support the recruitments through HR. So we have been able to recruit. It is going to decrease over time in that stress level. We're just getting the trainees through the training process, and we'll be close to fully staffed. So we have made a good turnaround.
And again, I think that's the conversation that Mr. Portman was directing to you. That's why I wanted to point out it was a comment on this. This is a point in time look. It is not the current state of where we sit. So this is a legislative report that covers a period of time. The state was insisting that municipalities and other government agencies report this material out. So it's our first time. So I think what we will try to do is also in the future, give you a current state of affairs as part of this, so that it's clear that this was a point in time that we were measuring, not necessarily where we sit today.
Right, and just to add to that, so again, point in time, this was January 7th point of time, and to date, we're down to 1 public safety dispatcher vacancy.
That was going to be my first question regarding how we are doing now. So thank you for the answer. I'm glad that we're down only 1. I have heard some community comments regarding non-emergency calls answered, the time that is taken for those calls to be answered. So I want to throw it out there so we're aware of that, that there are some concerns regarding that. Recruitment, I'm glad that we're doing all, and it's being now reflected, and that we have such a small amount, that we're only down 1. Retention efforts, I know that we did all the changes and everything so we could do that, and I'm glad that it's working. And I'll just add one more thing. As I sat on the Public Safety and Crime Prevention Committee in Washington, D.C., part of our discussion was that there's a national discussion going on dispatchers, and some federal legislation being looked into that. I also sit on the JPA for North County Dispatch, and there's a lot of discussion and a lot of the stresses and everything, and I'm glad that we're taking all the steps we can to take care of our dispatchers. So thank you once again. I understand this is something that we're going to get every year, but it's good for transparency, and it's good for knowledge, and it's good for the community to be able to know, because this is not just an HR issue, but it's an issue that can and will affect services. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you both for the presentation. This item needs no action. I'll close the public hearing, and we will move on to current business. And the first item up is the reapproval of the citywide salary schedules and management and unclassified salary and benefit plans.
Me again. Again, good evening, Mayor and Council members. Daniel Alvarado, Human Resources Manager. My presentation this evening is regarding the reapproval of citywide salary schedules and management and unclassified salary and benefits plans. Under the CalPERS Public Employees Retirement Law and Public Employees Pension Reform Act of 2013, compensation earnable and pensionable compensation are determined in accordance with amounts identified on a publicly available pay schedule. Additionally, publicly available pay schedules must meet the following requirements: be approved and adopted by the employer's governing body, identify the position title for every employee position, show the pay rate as a single amount or multiple amounts within a range for each identified position, indicate the time base such as a monthly or annual amount, be posted at the office of the employer or be immediately accessible and available for public review or posted on the employer's website. Indicate an effective date and date of any revisions, be retained by the employer and available for inspection for not less than 5 years, and does not reference another document in lieu of disclosing the pay rate. Historically, the city has implemented citywide salary schedules and management and unclassified salary and benefits plans as part of its regular compensation administration practices, and bringing them forward to the City Council for formal adoption and approval on a recurring basis. However, As a result of a recent employee's retirement estimate, CalPERS advised the city that it is not in compliance with the California Code of Regulations, sections 570.5 and 571, because prior salary schedules and salary benefits plans reflected an as-of date rather than an expressly labeled effective date. While these regulations have existed since 2011, the city has processed numerous retirements over the past 15 years without issue. We have learned by CalPERS' own admission that they have changed their practice of what they have previously approved or allowed. Additionally, we have also learned that CalPERS is now applying AI-driven compliance review methods that rely on strict document parsing rather than historical practice or intent. In order to align the city's historical practices with CalPERS requirements, staff requests council reapprove and adopt Resolution 2026-49. This includes citywide salary schedules for the prior 5 fiscal years and management and unclassified salary and benefits plans for the prior 5 fiscal years. This action is administrative and corrective. It does not change compensation levels, benefits, classifications, or previously established employment terms. Additionally, there is no fiscal impact as there are no modifications to previously approved salary amounts, benefits, or compensation structures. That concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
So, Council, essentially, this was an administrative issue with CalPERS asking us to change 2 words in our, that dates back from a change they instituted in 2011. They have been accepting these, but apparently maybe AI has identified that we have not the proper 2 words, and that's essentially why you're seeing this item this evening, is to apply this retroactive correction at the request of CalPERS.
Perfect, thank you. Do we have any public comments on this item?
None.
Okay, once again, I'll turn it over to my colleagues if you have any questions. None. Is this an action item?
This is, yes.
Okay, I'll move to approve and ask for a second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion approved 5-0.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item 15 is the 211 San Diego presentation on services and potential partnership.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. I'm Chris McKinney, Deputy City Manager. I'm here briefly to introduce another city employee who is appearing before you for the first time. To my far right is Nicole Lindsay. She is a management analyst in the city manager's office. She's been with the city for about 1 year. She is originally from Bountiful, Utah, but she comes to us from her last position before she joined the city of Escondido was with Aberdeenshire Council along the north coast of Scotland, along the North Sea. So I think she probably holds the record for the most distant agency from which we've pilfered another employee. And a fun fact about her, actually an impressive fact, is she climbed Mount Kilimanjaro with her father in 2014. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Nicole, and she will introduce her partner in presenting tonight from 211.
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and council members. As you know, I'm Nicole Lindsay, a management analyst in the City Manager's office. Tonight, I'm here with you to introduce you to San Diego's 211, and more specifically, Paul Redfern, their Chief Financial Officer. Mr. Redfern oversees 211's disaster preparedness and response program and is deeply involved in the organization's operation and strategic planning. He will be providing a brief overview of what 211 offers. In short, 211 is a nonprofit organization that operates a free 24-hour resource and referral service for San Diego County residents. Although our community relies on these services, we currently do not have a contract nor fund 211. Following Mr. Redfern's presentation, we will be seeking council's direction on next steps, including whether to explore a formal agreement to enable us to access additional benefits. Mr. Redfern, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, appreciate you having me. I will be very quick
just doing a brief overview of what 211 is, how it serves San Diego County, and then I'll go into some of the specifics around Escondido and the callers that we get from the Escondido community. 211 is a federal dialing code that is used across the nation in North America and even in parts of Europe, although I believe they use 222. 211 in San Diego County is controlled by Infoline of San Diego, which is a 501c3 charity, and we receive the Public Utility Commission's ability to use the 211 dialing code. 211 simply is San Diegans helping San Diegans. We have about 1,000 nonprofit and government resource organizations in our community with over 5,000 resources. When people are in crisis, they don't know where to turn. They don't dial 411, which I don't think anybody dials 411 anymore, but they don't Google hey, what's the number for Interfaith Community Services in Escondido? They just know that they don't have food for their family that night. That's when 211 is called, and we're able to connect people to the resources that are closest to them where they are. As I mentioned, we are a nonprofit organization. Our mission is to seamlessly connect individuals to the resources that exist for them in the community and to provide feedback to the community about where there are gaps in resources and other information. We provide community navigation for some of the more complex cases. We can provide direct application assistance to some economic supports, help them access benefits, and during times of disaster, we alleviate the load on the 911, which we talked about earlier, call system by providing non-emergency information during those disasters, specifically things like evacuation centers, if you're in an evacuation zone, family reunification, large animal evacuation, things of that nature. We do a number of data research projects as well about the impacts of these resources on the community. We have about 300 staff and over 10 board members at this time representing many organizations within our community. We're primarily funded through government fee-for-service contracts, the largest of which are through the County of San Diego Health and Human Services Department, but we also have a CDSS contract with the state of California. We are also an umbrella organization. We created the first community information exchange in the nation. It's been running for over 10 years. It connects 143 largest organizations, nonprofit organizations in our community with a shared record, and I'll touch on that briefly. And then finally, we do control and run the San Diego Health Connect, which is our health information exchange. There are many ways to access resources in our community. There are referrals from nonprofit providers to other nonprofit providers. There is the 211 dialing code. We also have all of our resources publicly available on our website. If you go to 211sandiego.org, you can click the search button at the top right, and you can search by city, zip code, need, category, any things of that nature. I did a quick search of Escondido earlier today. There are over 1,000 resources for just living assistance, just in that one category. Past family health centers, as I came in here today, longtime partner of 211 and certainly great support to this community. Longtime fan of Interfaith Community Systems, Greg Angel's organization here in the community doing a lot of great work. So those are the things that are available on our website as well. 4 areas that I want to highlight because it pertains directly to the data that we're going to look at for the city of Escondido is economic support, access to benefits, and those would be public benefits, our disaster response services, and then finally the care coordination and that community information exchange, which I mentioned. On economic support, one of the areas that we're very proud of that we've been able to be assisting people during this tax season is to get tax appointments. There are organizations throughout our county that assist individuals in preparing their taxes at no cost if they reach certain economic thresholds. The reason for that is because of the California Earned Income Tax Credit and the Earned Income Tax Credit. It is, by some estimates, the largest cash infusion that many working families receive all year long. And so it's imperative that these families prepare their taxes so that they can receive these tax credits. Last year, we helped 12,000 people get appointments for tax preparation, which resulted in $34 million of tax credits into our economy. There are other benefits that are out there, such as SNAP, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which in California we call CalFresh. There's Medicaid, and there's Medi-Cal. Those, of course, are changing. through HR 1. In fact, today we had some changes go into place that impact some individuals on benefits based on their immigration status. That we have more coming out throughout this year and at the beginning of 2027. And so we are receiving a lot of support from different organizations, cities, communities, to make sure that people are informed about what benefits they may be eligible for. And for those that aren't eligible for benefits, we're able to connect them to the other resources that exist in the community that would be appropriate for their needs. In our disaster response role, this is when we de-escalate or decompress the call volume to 911 so that people can reach 911 quickly. I know that back in 2017, they had the Lilac Fire just up the road in Fallbrook area. 911 was able to answer calls in 30 seconds because we were taking hundreds of calls about people that were curious about smoke. They see smoke. They want to know if they're in the evacuation zone. We are a closed loop system with Office of Emergency Services and fire departments throughout the county. When there is an event that takes place, to make sure that we are not only giving accurate information to callers, but we're also reporting back to the fire department's Office of Emergency Service around rumors or trends that we're seeing on the call volume that we're receiving. Finally, I just want to touch on our care coordination and our community information exchange. As I mentioned, this is a shared client record with 143 of the largest nonprofit and government organizations in our community. We're able to do closed loop referrals when somebody calls and they say that they need help. If Interfaith Community Service is the appropriate referral, we can send that message not only to the caller, but also directly to Interfaith Community Services to let them know that somebody's coming. Family health centers, we can send them information about a client so that when an individual that wants to receive help shows up at that next place, they don't have to repeat the entirety of their story that they just had with the 211 agent. So through this, we're able to not only provide more efficient and effective referrals to individuals, we also get to see what happens because there is that record. Was the referral accepted? What were the outcomes of that? And so we start to get a longitudinal record of that client. It also allows us to do care coordination around some of the areas where there are likely needs. So we can do follow-ups with individuals that we made a referral to because if they were referred someplace, a lot of times there's another need. The Community Information Exchange not only was created in San Diego, but now it's been replicated in many communities throughout the country. Chicago just deployed one, all based on this model. We've had summits on it where we've had people from all over North America coming into San Diego to learn how do we replicate this because it's such a valuable tool. A few pieces of data for our Escondido's callers specifically. So for the year ended June 30th, 2025, we had about 6,400 callers from Escondido. We had 6,400 clients from Escondido. That was about 18,000 calls. So you can see, based on those numbers, it's not just everybody calls 3 times. There's a large group of people, about half, that call once, and then there's another group of people that call about 6 to 8 times. So we see that fairly regularly with our callers across the community. You can see the age demographics. It's pretty well spread on what that age is. You can see the household size also. It's 50-50 between people without a household size without children and those with children. The biggest needs that we're receiving are, on the next slide here, housing. No surprise that housing is a concern all over the community. Secondarily is utilities. That's because SDG&E on shutoff notice put the 211 number on it and say, if you are receiving this notice and you need help paying your bill, call 211. And so we get a high volume of calls for the utilities. Food wasn't the highest on the list. It was kind of middle of the table here, the nutrition resources. But it is important to point out that the majority of people that were calling us about food said that they were concerned their food would run out or their food had actually run out in the majority of the cases of those people that were identifying that as their need. So food insecurity is a huge issue for individuals calling us, but it's also one where we do have pantries, we have resources, they're out there. It's just connecting people to that. Finally, I just want to address kind of one successful program that we've had with the city of San Diego, and that is around housing and shelter beds. It used to be a first come, first serve basis. They digitized it through our community information exchange, and they hold beds for our callers. We're able to refer and hold beds in those situations, which also gives our partners the ability to have insight into how many beds are available. That's just one collaborative approach that we're able to take, where we're able to successfully solve issue that had been problematic for those service providers in that area. Before I yield for questions, there are a few things, and I like to go with the good, best, better approach. The good is anybody in Escondido can call 211. Anybody in Escondido can go to our website and search for resources that exist in your community. We are going to consent people into the Community Information Exchange, provide direct referrals. We will assist them, and that's good. We're happy to come out and talk to your fire department, your police officers, give them business cards to say, hey, if you're called out on a 911 call and you address that initial need, but there's a greater social need there, have the individuals call 211. We've done that in the past. Happy to do it. Happy to provide you data on a regular basis about what's going on, about who's calling us. The better is when we have the ability to have a bit of that closed referral with a city. If you guys are providing services, we want to make sure that they're not only in our resource database, but that you guys are able to get information when we refer to those resources. And then that way we have a better understanding of how successful those outcomes are and what happened to that individual after they received that service. And then kind of the highest level that we provide is on our navigation services. We do this with San Diego Gas and Electric in the places where there's likely power shutoffs, with their medical baseline and functional needs populations. We do outbound calls to individuals that are likely going to be impacted that need additional assistance. And so those are some of the collaborative ways that we're working with organizations, cities, and others in the community to see if there's ways that we can better impact the social outcomes for individuals and citizens. Thank you.
So, Council, just after you've had a chance to do some Q&A, what I'm looking for is some direction about whether you would, not the level that we're talking about, but are you interested in going into learning how we might collaborate more with 211 to address some of our issues? One of the things that that I am very concerned about, and it came to light when we had a local state of emergency with asbestos battery energy system fire, being able to coordinate and have some pre-planning with 211, I think with our local state of emergency, we might have been able to address the information vacuum more accurately and quickly around what was happening. So that is, in the emergency response realm, that is one area that the city manager is looking to pursue a relationship with 211. But I also wanted them to come forward, give you what they work and how they work, and just generally, are you interested in us looking at how they match other service provision with the city and data finding with the city? So as we enter into further discussions with 211, I have a general idea of where if you have interest, so it's not a surprise when we bring back that contract.
Perfect, thank you. Do we have any public comments on this item?
None.
Okay, I do have a couple of questions, by the way. Thank you for being here tonight. 6,500-ish unique callers and 17,000, basically 18,000 total calls. How does that compare to cities of similar size?
It is more than places like Encinitas or Carlsbad. It's very hard to say as far as by size. That's not the driver of our calls.
Understood. When somebody's calling, I see here like percentage of clients with 2 to 3 calls and even 4 or more calls. That's 45% of the callers. Is that typically because of the same emergency, or does it just differ every time?
I think it's a mix of both, but I think that what we find is once we establish a relationship and there's trust and we've solved one problem, then there are other social needs that come to the surface. And
understood. Okay, and now I've got a question since you brought it up. Had we had a contract with 211, how would that have played into that local emergency?
I'm not gonna, we'd have to negotiate that, but it would be a possible outcome to understand where we might ask them to activate the relief mechanism that they provide on a county-wide basis during a county-wide state of emergency, a similar sort of understanding, so we could get more certainty into the community and get some of relief to our emergency numbers in that environment. I'm just stating that's an example of where if we'd had a preceding contract, we could have made that call because there was a lot of misinformation and even lack of information, consistent information around what was transpiring with that particular event.
Understood. Thank you. Yeah, I think the total documented calls brings to light a need, so I'm at least interested in exploring a partnership with 211, but I'll wait to hear what my colleagues have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for being here. I do support that. I think we do want to, I'd like to explore different options, especially because, kind of to what the city manager was saying, I've been looking into different emergency response plans, and one of the things that I think is important is communication. Do you have contracts with cities that specifically work with emergency response plans and communicating things of, you know, in case of an emergency where people could call in and just say, where do I meet? What's my, rendezvous point, et cetera?
We have historically not had a lot of success with that at the city level, and there's various reasons for that. But we were successful with like National City when there was the Bonamy Richard fire in 2020. The Navy ship caught fire in the bay, and there were noxious fumes going over National City. We were able to stand up a hotel voucher system for those impacted for 48-hour stays during that period. And so we do have agreements. National City's a supporter, Poway's a supporter, San Marcos is a supporter. But it usually just starts with a conversation. We want to make sure that we're prepared to support you in these situations. And I think that starts with a conversation that doesn't involve finances until it finds something else.
Okay, thank you. And then on a personal note, so I'm also on I'm the president of our HOA, and I know that last year there was somebody that came to us for help, 'cause, paying HOA fees and everything. And one of the resources we used pretty heavily was 211, and I think it was invaluable. I mean, the amount of help in terms of getting access to pantries, assistance, utility discounts, and I think to answer the mayor's question earlier, I mean, we must have helped him call maybe 4 or 5 times, and it was 4 or 5 different issues that he was having. So, thank you to the team, because I mean, they really helped him out a lot, and I mean, potentially saved him from, potentially losing his place. So thank you so much.
I'll pass that on. Thank you.
So I've used as a church pastor 211. I have had people that come in need and suggested using 211, and it's been helpful, but also sometimes frustrating because there are not enough services available. So one of the questions, I guess, for me, it's clear when it comes to disaster response services. I believe that this is something that could be very useful. As a chaplain, when I first started my services as a law enforcement chaplain, I was involved with large fires in San Bernardino, and information was just so critical. If somebody could just call in 211 and say, did my house burn down? And you can go down the most updated list and say, yeah, what's your address? And unfortunately, or not, right? Because people were just surrounded by those boards. So those type of, that type, I'm definitely interested. When you come back with the presentation, some of the things that I would be asking about would be what additional services or capabilities would Escondido receive under a formal agreement that the residents already don't receive under the county agreement. That would be very, very important for me. How how would we measure outcomes? What's that? Would be another question that I would like answered when it would come to that. And a little bit of a roadmap, how are we going to put the information out for people to know to call 211? I love the SDG&E call when this happens. Of course, that's going to increase the call volume, but it's the right place to call, because a lot of times people get frustrated. Where do I call? What do I do? So I think that is something that would be necessary. So those were a couple of things that I wanted to bring forward that I thought were important. And when discussions about contracts and needs and stuff comes back to us, I would definitely like to hear answers to those questions. So thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Redfern, for the presentation, and Nicole. I do have a question in regards to it says here, 18,000 referrals to over 1,400 critical community resources. Are mental health services one of the resources?
They are.
Okay. And I really like that part of it. I like basically there's a lot of social needs that you're able to help with and support, which a lot of times our emergency services get tied up with, so that allows them to be freed up. So I really like that part of it. Also, with the community resources, so you try to stay Escondido just local for our residents if possible. Is that what I'm understanding?
It's two things. One, we want to give the best referral to the stated need of the caller. And so if that resource is found in Oceanside, then we might refer them to Oceanside. But we're not going to provide somebody a resource in Oceanside if they live in Escondido and they have no way to be transported to that. Mm-hmm. And so it is a combination of geographically what's the most convenient, but really the first choice is how do we get the best resource for your stated need. That being said, we do have a partnership with Lyft, and so we do provide rides to some of the referrals that we're able to make.
So with the community resources, is it just what comes up, or do you have relationships with them? They know about 211 and what you do, and it's a sort of partnership that way?
It is, and so with our community information exchange, we're in monthly or more frequent contact with those 143 largest service organizations. And then with the other, let's call it 900 organizations that exist, they have their resources that are in our database are updated by them, and then we check them. And so we're talking to the largest nonprofits and other agencies on a monthly basis, and then the very smallest ones, we're at least talking to them on an annual basis.
Okay, thank you. I really like this. It just seems to serve our community's needs better. Currently, the county, I don't know if they're going to follow through, but they were looking at doing something like this, but hiring 200 employees, and it was going to be costing multi-millions of dollars to provide something just like this. You know, I really think it's important for the communities to be able to cover their people, and I think this would be such an asset. Thank you.
Hi there. Can we go to the slide where you have the bars about the different issues that people are calling about? Thank you so much. So yes, housing doesn't surprise me, the need for housing. And I did also, a couple months ago at our League of Cities chapter meeting, someone from 211 gave a presentation as well. So some of this also came up. How do organizations or the resources that you're referring to, how do they sign up with 211 so that you know that they exist?
We have an application system on our website, so if for whatever reason an organization isn't currently listed with 211, they can go to the 211sandiego.org website and apply. It's not exclusively nonprofit organizations that are in our resource database. We do have some for-profit agencies, but they must be providing public resource services to the communities.
Okay, good to know. And as far as you mentioned about you do closed loop referrals, can you tell me how that works on your side? How do you know that somebody's been helped, and, you know, they're not, you know, that they felt that they didn't fall through the cracks?
Great question. With those 143 largest organizations that are part of the Community Information Exchange, an agent will be on the phone with a caller or client from the community. A referral will be found, or a resource will be found, rather, that's appropriate for that stated need. And if the resource is provided by one of those 143 agents, we ask the permission of the caller if it's okay if we send that direct referral to the agency so that they know the backstory and a little bit of that history and the facts that we picked up on the phone. Then we have a quality assurance team that goes through to ensure that those direct referrals are picked up. So it's a very specific referral to a specific resource at an organization. It's not spread out across the map. So if somebody says, I need a shelter bed for tonight, we don't send that out to 20 organizations saying, John Doe needs a shelter bed. We say, oh, it appears that there's a resource that's available in Escondido that would be appropriate for your stated need. Can we send that direct referral there? And we send it to the one place. Based on what type of resource it is, the members of the Community Information Exchange attest that they will resolve the referral, either accept, decline, or hold within a certain period of time, typically 48 hours.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you. That's helpful. So that's kind of sent like in a queue, somewhat of a queue system. There's not like somebody waiting on the phone, like, wait while I transfer you, or wait while I connect you. It's a little bit different than that?
We're able to do warm referrals in some situations, but that's not the norm.
Okay, got it. That's helpful. And then how do you integrate the Shelter Ready app with a referral for housing, for example?
The public
The one
Shelter Ready app?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I know it's opened up beyond, you know, just, first it was One Safe Place that was using it, but it's now been opened up to housing providers and shelters, right? So.
Correct. So, great question. We have a staff person that's on the advisory committee for that. 211 itself has not adopted it yet because we have the integration that we do. I think that at some point we will, but we're waiting to kind of see the efficacy of that before we adopt it ourselves.
Okay, got it. That makes sense. So I'm really interested. First of all, I just want to say that I'm very interested in continuing the conversation and learning, you know, what you have to offer the city. I also had heard from your national, I think, CEO at one of the National League of Cities conference, and I wanted to go back, and I remember taking lots of notes, and I wanted to go back and revisit because there were some really interesting partnerships happening in other parts of the country, and those kind of partnerships could also happen in our region, but I know it requires investment, and in those areas, they were getting federal investment. So I guess it depends on how well you're funded for capacity reasons. So I'm really interested in learning more and seeing how you can help Escondido. I like to make informed decisions based on data, so I'm really interested in getting the data for this. But also, not just referrals, because you know, that's just one element, but how do we also, I would like to use this information for how do we help in our policy making, especially if you tell us that for you to be able to communicate, you know, we're getting so many calls for this need and the resource doesn't exist. So that's, instead of just saying, oh, we're getting too many calls and the resource doesn't exist, oh, well, too bad, too sad, right? No, I want to know, as a policymaker, what do I need to seek out? What new programs do we need to fund, or new organizations do we need to identify? So I'm really interested in that aspect of it, and also letting organizations know that they can sign up with you all. I noticed that immigration is not on your list. Are you getting calls about immigration at all, 8211? And is there, if not, is there another resource that exists like yours for those kind of issues?
We have been tracking immigration-related calls, you know, going back to probably January of last year, and we were expecting an uptick, and really it's gone down. And we actually had a CIE partner call last week, and San Ysidro Health was reporting out that there are people that are eligible for certain benefits that exist, and they're not applying, and they're not going places. City Heights, they're remobilizing their nonprofits because people are scared about where they can go. But 211 is not receiving a volume of calls. People, I don't think people really want to go on record saying that that's something that they're concerned about.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, and the reason I bring this up is because I get those calls in my city, you know, and I'm not a nonprofit, and I don't have staff to kind of deal with that. So I was curious if you were also seeing that trend. But I want to identify a gap for you that I'm seeing on the ground, and that is a lot. Like you said, there's people who are scared, people who are not getting help or access to services like food, for the fear, right, of who they can trust and making themselves seen or vulnerable. So that tracks with what you're saying. But there's just this really need for accurate information, and a lot of need for legal assistance, especially on immigration law. And so that is something that I'm responding to on the ground. And there's actually like a network of nonprofits that are also working on that issue. So I would be interested in connecting with you, and I'm going to reach out individually on just kind of how to navigate that and share that information, because even though maybe they're not calling 211, I think it's important that you be aware that those resources do exist, and informal networks are being set up at the grassroots level to assist with, what cities and counties are not addressing.
Yes.
So I look forward to hearing more. Thank you for coming today, and I look forward to continuing the conversation and exploring a potential partnership with 211.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Did you get all the direction you needed? Okay, perfect. That'll conclude this item. Thank you both. Thank you for coming here again and for the presentation. I think we're all looking forward to seeing what comes of this. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add to a future agenda? And if not, we'll start with Councilmember Fitzgerald for our updates.
Today, earlier for lunchtime, I went to Harris, where there was an economic development committee report that was hosted by Rincon and San Pasqual and Paula. And it's a really exciting time in that they want to be partnering with Escondido and Valley Center and work on economic development in this region. Let's see, the San Diego Air Pollution Control District, a vote came forward, or an item came forward, and essentially it was a Senate bill to increase some rates because of emissions coming across the border from Mexico, and essentially to increase our rates through DMV and some other things, and that was voted down. So that I was happy to report that was voted down. We're not going to be paying for emissions that are coming from another country. Other than that, that is it. That's all I have to report. Thank you.
So I had an NCTD board meeting this last week, and so I was present for that meeting. Prior to that, we had the MISPITA, which is the marketing subcommittee or the marketing committee for the NCTD, the North County Transit District. We began discussing different issues and asked that we received a report so we can begin to look at the next 5 years regarding public transportation in our area, and being that Escondido is the largest user of public transportation in North County, that was quite important. I was voted as the vice chair for that committee. I also sit representing NCTD on SANDAG's Regional Transportation Committee. We had a meeting. We're discussing budgets and a number of issues that are present regarding transportation in our area. A couple of weeks ago, I had the opportunity to be in Washington, D.C. for the National League of Cities. I sit on a number of committees, but one of the committees that I sit on is public safety and crime prevention. And as I sat on that committee, we were discussing legislation coming up about the dispatchers. We were discussing regarding immigration. They brought together two different committees, the Human Development Committee and Public Safety, to begin to draft and make changes to the current policy for National League of Cities, and what is it that we will continue to advocate for. I also had an opportunity to be able to sit in a meeting with our federal senators that represent California. They presented a series of concerns and issues, took some questions from those of us that were there. Also had one of the reasons why, in addition to the NLC, the National League of Cities, that I went was also to speak to our Congress members regarding needs here in Escondido and to advocate for those needs. Also went to the Army Corps of Engineers, which we have an approval of $34 million, but that comes in portions according to the work that we're requesting to be done. So we spoke about a need of $3 million with the $4 million price to complete some of the work that we're doing. I also brought up the issue that we're discussing at the Public Safety and Crime Prevention Committee, immigration reform with our Congress members to get, so they could hear the importance of that regarding here our community in Escondido. And I think that'll conclude my report.
All right. I had a number of events I went to over the last little while. Starting with, I was invited to play in the Golfing EMOS Tournament Championship. Golfing EMOS is a local group that has set out to build the largest Latino-led golf movement in the country, and it was a ton of fun. Went out to the safari park for the Elephant Valley ribbon cutting, which is the new elephant exhibit and restaurant, and it was phenomenal. It's really, really a cool place. Had Cub Scout Group 659 here at City Hall in for a visit, and for about 45 minutes, they asked me a number of questions, everything from what's my favorite food to the hardest part of the job and anything in between. Also went to Mission Middle School, where a group of students gave me a presentation on their class project around homelessness, and I was able to give some feedback on that. And went to the First Congregational Church of Escondido for their Sunday service to recognize them and do a proclamation for their 138th anniversary. They're just as old as the city. Went to the Nowruz Festival at the Center for the Arts, the YMCA dedication, the PD Awards, and then got to participate for a day briefly. Shout out to Love Esco on their service project. You know, they're out there doing work all the time, and this one in particular was an elderly woman who's lived in Escondido for a very long time, whose home was just overgrown everywhere. So we cut down some trees, cut the grass, pulled weeds, got a bunch of trash out of there. I was only there for a day, but they were there for 3 or 4 days working nonstop. For economic development, we had a subcommittee meeting where we got an update on the funds coming in from Measure I, as well as an update on our Grow ESCO initiative. And there are some items coming up for that subcommittee. The food truck ordinance, we'll be working on that. We'll be getting an update from our real property person. And then we'll also get an update on the 1 year, excuse me, of both 1 year update for our business license software and for short-term vacation rentals. And going through my thing here. Went to Washington, D.C. for 2 reasons. Number one was Mayor's College, which was an opportunity to meet with about 50 mayors from all over the country and work together trying to solve some of the similar issues we have. But one thing that came up there that we're not quite dealing with here is data centers. And listening to other mayors talk about the pros and cons of having data centers in their cities, which I think is a conversation that we should have sooner rather than later so we don't end up in another battery energy storage conversation. And, the other half, met with Senator Adam Schiff and Alex Padilla's staff to request some funding for some stormwater infrastructure improvements, as well as funding for priority signals through the city. And that will conclude my report.
Thank you. I'll keep this brief. We had a Clean Energy Alliance meeting. It was actually pretty good. I think we're definitely on the right track in terms of budgeting and exploring different options for clean energy and renewable energy. But what was really cool is we were actually part of the front. We had an event for the San Diego Clippers, which is new to me. But we were a sponsor there, and it was actually a lot of fun to be able to go out. We were part of the opening ceremony, the Clean Energy Alliance, so that was a lot of fun, pretty cool. Also attended the PD Awards. Happy Easter and Passover for those who celebrate this coming week. And as always, thank you to my community for the privilege of serving.
Yes, so it's been a couple weeks, so we do have lots of activities, and some of them my colleagues already mentioned. So I was also in Washington, D.C. for the National League of Cities Conference, and data centers did come up a lot as well at that conference, as well as immigration. My colleague and I and our city manager were invited to a California League of Cities briefing with Senators Schiff and Padilla. That was a highlight. And I'm on several committees, such as the Hispanic elected officials and the Women's Caucus, so I was able to attend their meetings and events as well. Last week, we had our visioning retreat, where we revisited city priorities and discussions on future policy making. That was audio recorded for anyone who wants to listen. We were in the Mitchell Room last week, so that was a good meeting from 8:30 to 3:30, so it was a long day of good conversation with my colleagues. I was also at the YMCA dedication a couple of weeks ago. I'm really excited that they're now the YMCA, we formerly was called the Palomar YMCA, is now the Campus for Wellbeing, and they have partnerships with the school district, National University, and I neighborhood healthcare. I knew I was forgetting one, and also the pool was renovated and is back online, which is exciting if you have not seen it. And I want to thank Assemblymember Dr. Darshana Patel, because she did, through the state budget, contribute to funding to make that happen. So that was really exciting to see. It's now April, so it's officially Earth Month, and also in the city of Escondido, it's all Arts and Culture Month. And so lots of stuff happening for that every single day in Escondido. Be sure to visit the website, visitescondido.org. There's going to be so much going on in the city. This weekend is the 3rd annual Earth Day Escondido. It's one of the neighborhood celebrations that I host in District 1, and it's also the 3rd ever Earth Day celebration for Escondido at Washington Park. It's this Saturday, April 4th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's a free event open to the public at Washington Park. The address is 501 North Rose Street. There'll be 30 exhibitors, food, a bouncy house, arts and crafts, succulent swap, upcycling DIYs. So bring your old t-shirts to make them into tote bags. There will be music, free Pilates in the park, and a lot of sustainable vendors and organizations. So I invite you all to come to Earth Day Escondido this Saturday. I had an opportunity to say goodbye to one of our local downtown businesses. Urban Barn closed their doors yesterday. Really sad to see them close after 11 years, but they were a really cool vintage shop in the city. And then today I visited a new creative reuse shop, 2 of them actually, called Escondoodles, which is a creative arts reuse shop at the Center for the Arts and Colab Crafts. So make sure you check that out and other events happening for Arts and Culture Month. Thank you.
City Manager?
Nothing to report.
All right, and there are no public comments, so this
None.
meeting is adjourned.